What an honor, what a privilege to have your company with us here on Richard Mwanja Exclusive. My good name is Richard Mwanja. Welcome to the conversation. Today we spearhead subjects there in shaping Kenya's political and governance landscape. And as usual, I have with me, sitting across this table, your favorite think tank, public scholar. I'm talking about none other than former Minister Ruto Arab Kiro. Many of you, especially those from Trans Nzoia, consider him to be the biggest export after the late president, Michael Wamalwa Kijana. How does this comparison between you two make you feel?
Well, I think Wamalwa, more than anything else, he was a scholar and also a nationalist. And for me, I've just been struggling to occupy that space because at times one does not know himself very well. It is others who remind us what we are. And if there are people who believe in Trans Nzoia that I occupy those shoes, then I thank God for it. I take it with a lot of humility because that is not a small space. Remember, there was the late Wamalwa, there was the late Muliro, and of course the late George Captain was also a member of parliament for Kwanza. And of course people like Kibiwat Koros, who occupied this space before me. So I thank God for it, and I feel honored. Yeah, of course I'm elder from Trans Nzoia.
But by virtue of people putting Wamalwa Kijana's name and yours in the same sentence, it really makes you feel better.
Well, it elevates me, say the least.
To say the least,
yeah.
It elevates you.
Yeah, it elevates me.
Today you are donning this shirt that looks so expensive and your gold watch. Are you following the footsteps of Murkomen CS, who's gone on record before me saying, I am donning a timepiece worth 900,000 Kenya shillings, a tie worth 50,000 Kenya shillings. Opulence in the highest degree possible. Is yours part of those who are reading queue from him?
No. I think mine is just from a simple shop here in town.
Really?
Yeah. And if I were, I'm not a public servant. You see, the worst thing is when you're occupying public space and you seem to be so extravagant in whatever you are buying, people will frown upon it. But if you are just ordinary Kenyan, doing your little things here and there, they will not bother you.
Why do you think people are so quick to conclude that for Murkomen it is state-sponsored opulence?
Well, because we knew him the other day when he was the senator for Marakwet. And you cannot transcend that particular divide. We know many people who are now joining us in Karen. And the other day they were living in some funny places in town. So if it is not state-sponsored, then it's state-associated opulence.
You've rocked blazers worth 200,000 Kenya shillings on this show. Is yours product of your hard labor and all that?
Well, it's, it's a product of my pension.
That all the way straight to the day's conversation. Yeah. Let me begin by the sentiments of Mutahi Ngunyi. He was trying to address the Gen Z movement. And from my end, I feel that he's somewhat trying to intimidate them and get them into pin drum silence. But I want to get your view on that. Let me read his tweet. Dear Gen Z, you do not know Ruto. His father was in the Nandi resistance against the colonizers. You think you can scare a Nandi out of State House by shouting, Ruto must go? The Samo A in him is just being nice. Give up, or you can dialogue if you have a point. That we should not dare the son of Samo A. You are from the Kalenjin community. Is this an element to instill fear on us, the Gen Z?
But facts first. Ruto is not related to Koitalel Samoei. By any stretch of imagination, Ruto is born of ordinary parents. They are not like borns of the Kalenjin or of the Nandi. The late Koitalel Samoei comes from a family called Italai. And that is a very clear issue. The Samoei, who is the father of Ruto, did not even participate in the Nandi resistance. He was born after the resistance was over.
He's not a son of the
Nothing to do with Koitalel Samoei. And you see, Koitalel Samoei was killed on 19th of October 1905. Ruto's father might have been born in the 30s, way after the Nandi resistance. So I don't know which resistance he participated. I think Mutahi Ngunyi, if he's a professor, which I have a lot of doubt about, must also be factual to begin with. Number two, let's assume even he was part of the Nandi resistance. That's not something that you just float around and make us get scared. We are living in the new dispensation. This is a new constitution. This is not colonial system. This is the government of the people of Kenya. And therefore, the people can decide to take back their own government and practice directly the power bestowed upon the president under Article 1 of the Constitution.
So words alone cannot suppress the Gen Z movement and the struggle they believe in?
Gen Z movement is the alternative opposition. And I'm telling you, they have occupied squarely the position that is supposed to be occupied by the opposition. And they're also reflecting the aspirations, the frustrations, and the wishes of their parents and grandparents. If you go to many of these homes, they support them. Yeah, it's only that they are able to get to the street. And something positive about them, it is mixed gender. You know, in the past, the struggle was born directly by men. Women were support of the struggle, whether it's Mau Mau, or whether it's Nandi resistance, or whether it's the Abagusi resistance against or even the war of Chetambe. It is men who used to be at the forefront. But I saw the other day something very interesting. Girls being lifted shoulder high and being part of this generation saying no to impunity, no to corruption, no to theft, no to arrogance, no to bad leadership.
Following the rise of the Gen Z movement, there are quarters who seemingly are out to try as hard as they can to suppress the movement. Do you think one antic being deployed to do so is maybe going for guns for hire? And in this case, do you find Mutahi Ngunyi to be coming out as a gun for hire?
Well, if he's not been hired, then he's on the job board to be hired.
He's on the pipeline?
Yes, he's going to be hired.
His budget is already down?
And perhaps he has been paid advance.
Advancing that conversation, Kimilili Member of Parliament Didmas Barasa has been quick to declare himself as the de facto leader of the Gen Z movement. Not only him, we are not only seeing him in the political class trying so much to associate themselves with the Gen Z movement. Do you find that there is a political class who are quick to capitalize and leverage on the political fold of the day, which is an association with the Gen Z movement?
Well, the way I see it, every politician would want to be associated, even me here. That's why I was talking to the 8 of them, because I feel this is the first time Kenya is moving a notch higher in terms of values. In fact, the GNCs, I call them Nyereres, because they are fighting what Nyerere fought. Ukabila, ubabe, ufisadi, na udini.
But why declare yourself the de facto leader?
Who, me?
For Didmas Barasa, why do you think he's doing that? You've been an MP.
No, you see, Didmas Barasa does not belong to my class. He's a cut below us. So I don't want to comment on him because I find I will be elevating him to a level that he does not deserve.
To a level that he does not
deserve. And he does not qualify. Yeah. So even the airtime we've given him is too much.
Too much for him?
Yeah, too much for him.
Maybe we should take it to people from Alliance, Kimani Ichung'wah?
Kimani Ichung'wah is a nice boy, but he sounds in an alliance. In fact, I've been meeting some of his former classmates and some of his schoolmates, and they say he's letting them down. Because somebody who went through alliance, if he was invited, but I was told he was, I think, quarter 4. I don't know, there was a name like that. I met somebody, I don't want to name people. He told me Ichung'wah did not really join alliance directly. He was part of the quarter. We were calling in Mangu Kumudha. Those who came after we joined the school. Those who came either son of Kirwa, Nini.
Has those been suspended somewhere else?
No, it is that parents bring them. Say, I was an old boy of Mangu, please, can you allow my son? So we were calling them Kumudhas. And they didn't like, I don't know what Kumudha is in Kikuyu, because I suspect that must have been a Kikuyu name. So anytime they were called Kumudhas, some of them worked hard and they got first division during our time. But still, we were sort of, and whenever their name was mentioned, you freak. Yeah.
Sure enough.
So I'm told, I don't know. Kimani Ichung'wah can tell you when he comes to your show, whether he went round one or he was here Kumudha.
He doesn't pick my calls. He said we are too combative.
We,
especially you and Ndegwa Njiru.
No, I like him. Personally, I like him. He's a nice young man. I met him 2007. He was trying to run for the same constituency. I met him with some young lady who I was made to understand. She was also a daughter of a candidate against him. Then I told him, how come you are with a daughter? I said, no, I want to convince her to convince the mother not to run this time. Of course, eventually became an MP. I gave him 100,000 that time, and I gave the lady 100,000.
You are that oiled, that moneyed?
Well, I had some little, I was earning 1 million shillings. If you gave me a job again, earning 1 million shillings, I can give you 100,000.
Our videographer Ryan wants to run for MCA come 2027 back there in Kilgoris. Are you gonna sponsor him?
I'll pray for him.
Prayers alone?
I'll pray for him. The little I have, I will give him.
Let's advance the conversation further on matters with Gen Z. And from the lenses of Nairobi women rep Esther Passaris, she believes Gen Zs are an impatient lot. Let me actually read what she said on X. Gen Zs are impatient. They want radical changes. I am certain banning Kenya is not one of them. They are mad. It is justified. Change is never easy. Change is inevitable. I have confidence William Ruto will do right by this generation. Let's remind our children patience is a virtue and to err is human. To forgive, divine. We have to respect the constitution and work together to enhance the rule of law. My desire is to have a peaceful Kenya. Gen Zs, stop being impatient. What do you make of those thoughts and comments from Esther Passaris?
It's a mix-up of confusion and lack of wisdom.
You don't credit her with deep thinking on this matter with Gen Z?
No, some of it is plagiarized. It's not original thoughts. And as a scholar, I don't credit plagiarism to any student. So let that rest there. Esther Passaris is what she is for other reasons.
Shifting gears and now talking matters to do with Mount Kenya politics and by extension national politics, we have seen Deputy Rigathi Gachagua, who is so dear when it comes to the fight against illicit brew, coming forth and blaming the Ministry of Interior, especially top officials therein, saying they are sabotaging his fight against illicit brew in Mount Kenya and other areas in this country. A fortnight ago, we saw him take squarely the blame at the doorstep of Nurdin Haji, the boss of NIS. And I want to understand, as a seasoned politician, do you think when it comes to Rigathi's political style, blame games form the integral part of his political gene?
Well, I think the Deputy President, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, is a man in very deep frustrations. The way I know this regime, if you do not agree with it, they will even frustrate an effort that was genuine, an effort that would have assisted to make this country better. I remember Rigathi Gachagua when at the advent of his fight against illicit brew, he talked passionately about it, that he lost some brothers through illicit brew. And he was passionate, and I believed his story. Perhaps the style might have some issue here and there. So the regime is already divided. Listening to them, because we also get a chance to listen to them through other means. And we realize that Rigathi Gachagua is not longer one of the central figures. He's only just being tolerated because they know he has a huge constituency, a constituency that was pivotal in bringing the current president or the current government to power. And that constituency can be disrupted. And they know Gachagua has the courage to disrupt any sitting should he find it not tenable. So I think the two of them are actually tolerating each other, and that should be the case. They decided to come together, let them sit together up to 2027. Then they can choose their separate paths, or if they will have agreed again to patch up, they can patch up, go home together, or separate. One goes home, one remains. I don't know.
You're a family man, but why are you big on the call for Ruto and Rigathi's political marriage to be that of mkae pamoja kwa sababu ya watoto. Don't you think that will be toxic?
Well, it's not toxic. Well, it may be toxic, but you see, they have to tolerate each other. Because if we start this issue of people fighting in between and separating completely and destroying the order they created, it will be a political system that will be so shaky and will have created a situation of turbulence in every 5 years. Let them stick together. Let them eat whatever they can eat. Leave our money. Then after the next 3 years, they decide which way to go. Because I will not say Rigathi should resign. Why? Ruto never resigned, and he used to insult the president at that time every day. So why should Rigathi resign? I think he's better off inside there. And for us, let him rock the government from inside.
You want him to rock the ship from the inside?
Yeah, from the inside, and even pierce a hole so that water comes into the boat.
You want to see a reincarnation of the Titanic sinking again?
Well, this will be new Titanic. Yeah, but this one is lighter than that one.
Well, asante sana. Stick on this channel so that you don't miss out on our new segment that is coming up on our next edition of Richard Mwenje Exclusive, starting the 3rd week of July. That is Heroes Corner with Kipito Arab Kirwa. More insights on that particular segment awaits you should you join the conversation when that time comes. Keep this conversation going on beyond here. I'm at Mwenje Richard on X and on TikTok. Find Mheshimiwa at Kirwa Official across all social media handles. Until then, God bless.